Okay, quickly going through the Web Developer Toolbar. The biggest thing here we're going to use is under Tools. And you'll see it's got several options. Validate CSS, validate HTML. And then at the bottom, there's validate local CSS and local HTML. When you're developing on your local computer, you will use the bottom two. We use the validate tool to check your code. I'm a firm believer in check often and check early. Or another way of putting it is fail fast. Basically, find where you've got your typos and your stuff early, because if you've got a bunch of stuff, it can be a lot of work to find it later and correct it. And this is a great tool for helping you make sure your code is syntactically correct. Now, I'm emphasizing the word syntactically correct because it may not be visually correct. The one thing they need to know about computers is they're stupid. They do exactly what you tell it to do, not necessarily what you wanted it to do. A common problem. They're not exactly inventive and go, oh, I think that this is what you really want to do. And then generally when they do try to do that, say, oh, I think you really meant to do this, they usually get it wrong. So we want to check it. And it'll make sure that our structures are correct and that we've got all of our code is correct. It won't guarantee everything works. But if we make sure that it's correct, we can solve most of our problems. I found that a lot of the problems we face are just simple errors. After those are out of the way, then you can deal with the more logic errors and getting it so that it's structured correctly. So we want to make sure we do it. Validating your code has several advantages. One, it solves bugs. It's a great way of making sure you don't have some bugs in your code. It makes your code more professional. Should you ever go into this business and start developing websites, don't be surprised to have people check your code and find out, do you know how to code? Is it valid? I do that. I check sites. I want to know, do you really know what you're talking about? It also helps with compatibility. One of the major problems we've had over the years is web browsers going off and developing their own standards. Well, that is slowly being fixed. And the different web browsers have realized that if they want to be used, they don't command enough of the market to set the standard. They need to follow the standards. They need to obey them. So if you write your code to the standards, the chances that your code will work and be compatible on more devices is improved, which is an advantage to you as well. So it helps with making sure that your code is going to work more places smoothly. Okay, validate local HTML and CSS is for files on your local computer. So when you're developing, this is what you'll use. Validate CSS and validate HTML. You will use this when testing against your website or other websites. And it will try to validate the very page that you're on. So here I am in the Firefox release versions. I can go to Tools, validate HTML, and hopefully it will actually validate. Oh, they found 2 errors. Let's see. Okay. Oh, yeah. So they found a couple things dealing with first child options. You will find professional websites that don't validate. It happens. You will also find where, because of browser incompatibilities, they have what are known as browser hacks, and they won't validate either. And there's a few other reasons. And towards the end, there may be even a few times where you'll come and say, well, I'm doing this feature and it won't validate. And yeah, there are times that you may do things that aren't in the standard yet, or you have to do them to get to work. But our goal is always to start with valid code. And it just validated the local page, pulls it up. We want to validate the CSS. Make sure we're on the page we want to check. Validate CSS. Give it a moment. Hopefully it'll work. And it's finding a bunch of them. Now, this is a common one. I'm going to change the profile. It's validating for CSS 2.1. And it's got a bunch of CSS 3 code. So we'll see if we can't fix it, see what happens. Ah, much better when we validate against the current standard. 3.0, and you'll notice things like #tabzilla-panel. These are browser specific. It's not going to validate because, well, it's not in the standard, but it's a browser specific extension. When I come to grading, I will be using this tool to grade your sites. If you look and it says no more than X number of errors, well, now you know the tool that I will be using. This is how I will find them. So, suggestion, run it first and fix them. Some other tools are really cool in here. Go back to this side here. Outline. When we get into dealing with CSS and aligning everything, this outline tool becomes incredibly useful. Outline block elements. You immediately can find all of your divs and paragraphs, all your block level elements, and make sure they're flowing in there correctly. Just throws a border on them. Really handy. And you can outline specific things so if you're interested in it. Very useful tool for debugging stuff. Let's see here. Want to disable images. So I suggest play around with it. You can even turn off the CSS and actually see what does the site look. And now we're looking at the raw HTML, no CSS on it. Because remember, in your web development, your HTML is the content, CSS is the appearance, JavaScript and that is your behavior. So at this point, we just took the page and I removed the CSS, so now I'm looking at just the content. Great way to check it and double check it. And we can turn it back on. Okay, so that is a quick overview. We'll be using Firefox. So I expect that as you're working and you're testing your websites in class that you will be looking at them in Firefox. To get a web page into Firefox, there is open file, there it is. Command O, and you can simply browse to the HTML page that you want to open, or you can drag and drop a page onto the browser and it will open it that way. So it's really easy to get it into it.